Hello everyone, I am Parikshit and welcome to another exciting and important session on Unacademy CATalyst. In today's session, we are going to talk about the changes that IIFT has brought in for the recent or the upcoming calendar year, right? There are a lot of changes, diversity factor, academic weightage, and a new campus also is going to be introduced. So a lot of changes in the IIFT, the changes in the exam pattern as well. And of course, last year it used to be held in the month of November. This year it is also going to be held in the month of January. So a lot of changes in the IIFT examination, the selection process as well as the student intake. So definitely make sure that you look at this video and I'm going to share all details in the next 15 minutes. It's going to be a very interesting session. But before that, as always, the first thing I'm going to tell you is give me 10 seconds to make sure that I'm streaming live before I get started with today's session. Okay, I think we are streaming live and we are good to start. So let's get started with today's session. Okay, first things first, right? So in this slide that you see are some of the changes that IIFT has brought in for this particular academic year. The academic year which starts from 2021 and continues till 2023. So first, let's look at the key important dates. Okay. So I believe that most of you are already aware that the IIFT notification was released on November 6, 2020. This is already passed. The registration for the IIFT examination has also started and it has started since the 6th of November 2020. So in case you have not registered, there is nothing to worry. The timeline is still there and it is there till December 2020, right? So they have also mentioned a specific time period, but I would definitely suggest do not stay till the last day to fill up the IIFT form. At the end, you know that this is a premier B school and lakhs of students aspire to get a seat in the IIFT. But definitely and probably you must wait till your CAT. Once your CAT results are, once you give the CAT exam, you can apply for the IIFT. Okay. The last date to pay the IIFT registration fee is also December 2020, which is the same as the last date for registration. The IIFT application fee, as you are aware, must be 2,500 for the general category students. Okay, 2,500 for general category students. Now, the admit card download will start from the January 11, 2021 and the exam is on January 24, 2021. So I hope you take a note of this date. January 24, 2021. So even after your CAT, you have got roughly 2 months to prepare and prepare well for the IIFT. Remember, this advantage is something that not only you, but all the lakhs of students who are writing the IIFT is getting 2 extra months of preparation to focus exclusively on the IIFT. So make sure you take advantage of this date. Next, IIFT 2021, the results will be declared in the result date will be declared on January 31. Okay, January 31. So somewhere in the month of March or April first week, the result should be out. Rohit, I will come to it. I will come to it. I'll mention all the details. Don't worry. So he's asking the fees for ST students. We'll let you know. IIFT shortlist, and that will also be out in the month of February 2021. When I say shortlist, I mean the first result, the first shortlist for GDPI. Okay, the first set of shortlist for GDPI. Now, very, very important. Key changes in the IIFT selection process. Key changes which have been introduced from this particular academic year. First, the shortlisting. Now, there is a change in the weightages. As you see, 73% marks is for your IIFT exam score. Now, when I say shortlisting, I mean shortlisting for GDPI. Shortlisting for GDPI. So, this is the first category of shortlist. Okay. So, 73%, and that is huge, right? That is actually huge on the written exam. On the written exam. Similarly, 7% weightage is for your academic and gender diversity. Now, what do I mean? If you are a non-engineer, okay, and if you are a girl, you get this 7%. You get this 7%. If you are a non-engineer and a boy, probably you'll get around 3.5%, around 3.5% extra marks. So out of 100, you'd get 3.5. But if you are an engineer and a boy, you definitely tend to lose out on the entire 7%, on the entire 7%. So make sure if you are an engineer, it means you need to score more in your written examination. So probably a girl and a non-engineer might get a call, okay, from the IIFT at a lower written score, compared to a boy student and an engineer. Next, this is for your next final selection, okay, the process for final selection. Now, the first of all, your IIFT score weightage. Remember, there's a difference. What I said just now was for the first round of shortlist, okay. For the final selection, 45% is for your written examination. Your GDPI performance is 40%. GD, PI and WET. What is WET? Written ability test. The written ability test. Academic and gender diversity. Again, non-engineer plus a girl, you get 4 extra marks. Academic consistency. What do you mean by this? Academic consistency. It means your class 10 score, as an example, is let's say 85 plus. 12 score is 85 plus, and your graduation score is also 80% plus. Okay, it shows you are consistent in your academics. That will fetch you brownie points. 8%. And work experience is 3%. When I say work experience, it basically means up till a maximum of 3 years. Now, does it mean anyone who has more than 3 years of work experience cannot apply? No. It only means if you have, let's say, 5 years of work experience, you will not get any points. So up till 3 years, they will give you extra points. For your final selection. Okay. Next, IIFT campus-wise intake. First is the Delhi campus. The Delhi campus, the proposed intake is 258 students. Remember, this is the first choice for aspirants. This is the best among all the 3 IIFTs. Second is the Kolkata campus. This is the second best among the 3 IIFTs. Okay. And third is Kakinaka. This is in Andhra Pradesh. Okay. And here, this is the third preferred. I will not say least preferred, but out of the 3, definitely it is the third preferred. And this is relatively new. Okay. This is going to be a new campus which is going to start. So if you are a serious aspirant, probably you are targeting the first 2. Okay. So 571 minus 60, around 500 seats for the first 2 campuses, which probably would be your dream campus. Okay, that's point number 1. The gender academic weightages and the different intake across the different campuses. Second, let's talk about the IIFT exam in particular. Okay, IIFT exam. Now, for your, so some Rohit, you just asked me, right? What about SC/SC students, Rohit? This answers your question. The application fee was 2,500 for general or OBC candidates. But if you are a SC/ST or a physically handicapped student, the application fee is only 1,000 rupees. Okay. If you are, let's say, if you belong to Nepal and there are a lot of students from Nepal and other neighboring countries, then your fee is 200 USD. If you belong to a different country, okay, foreign nationals, or if you are a non-resident Indian. Okay, next, let's look at the IIFT exam pattern. Now, the IIFT exam pattern, okay, first is, it is a 3-hour exam. And you are expected to answer around 110 questions in both MCQs, multiple choice, and non-multiple choice, which is exactly like the CAT, non-multiple choice, right? And what are your sections? 4 main sections: quants, verbal ability, reading comprehension, logical reasoning, and general knowledge. So the total marks in the IIFT examination is 300. This is the structure for IIFT 2021 paper. IIFT 2021 paper, okay, which is the one that you are appearing. Now, how many sections are we talking about? There are four main sections. And remember, the sections are important. Why? Because there is sectional cutoff. Okay. So quants, you know what? There are 3 marks per question. And what is the total marks in quants? If you look at the right hand side table, the total marks is 75. So 3 marks per question makes it 25 questions. Similarly, VARC, 3 marks per questions. And you know what? What is the total marks in VARC? 105, right? So how many questions will you get in VARC? 35 questions. Next, LRDI, 3 marks per question. LRDI, there are 90 marks in total. So there are a total of 30 questions. And general knowledge, only 1.5 marks per question. So how many questions are we talking about? 20 questions. Now remember, you have got sectional cutoff. You need to clear the cutoff in all the sections, including general knowledge, to get a call from the IIFTs for your GDPI. So make sure that you focus exclusively also on GK. Why? Because GK is something probably you are not preparing for the CAT. The remaining 3 are more or less taken care of in the CAT. But GK, this is something you got to focus on. Okay. Now, if you look at IIFT 2020, okay, I have mentioned the cutoffs. When I said 2020, we are looking at the cutoffs for the last year. And this year also probably it's going to be remaining more or less the same. It will vary obviously by 1 or 2 marks, but it will remain more or less, the same, provided the difficulty level is the same. Now, the first thing, you know what? Cutoffs is 5 marks. When I say 5 marks, how many questions? Remember, GK was 1.5 marks per question. So we are looking at somewhere around 4 questions. Correct in GK out of a total of 20 questions. It's not difficult. Definitely not difficult. Right? What about your reading comprehension and verbal ability? 34 was the cutoff. And you know what? Per question, you had 3 marks. Per question, 3 marks. So around 12 questions correct out of a total of 35 questions, which is very doable. Maths 22 is the cutoff. So just check. Around 8 questions correct out of a total of 30 questions. And DILR. And what about quants? 25 questions correct. So when I say 25 questions a total and 15 marks, just 15. So we are just looking at 5 questions correct. So if you look at this number, right? If you look at this column, it should be very, very encouraging because the cutoffs are low. Remember, the cutoffs are gonna be different cutoffs. Okay. When I say different cutoffs, I mean to say IIFT Delhi campus would have the highest cutoff, followed by Kolkata campus, followed by the new campus at Andhra Pradesh. Okay. So Delhi, Kolkata, Andhra Pradesh in that order. Okay. The cutoffs is going to be the highest for Delhi. Next details. So why IIFT is such a sought after college for lakhs of aspirants? Okay. The placement details. Obviously, 95% of the students who write any MBA entrance, for them, one major criteria to choose a B school is the placement figures. Right? And if you're looking at the placement figures, okay, first let's look at the placement figures. But before I look at the placement figures, I also need to tell you how much you need to invest. Right, to get those numbers. For a 2-year program, right, for their 2-year IIFT program, the fees is more or less the same across all the 3 campuses. The fees is the same. So how much is it? 17,000. So approximately 18 lakhs. Okay, is the fees for 2 years. And that excludes your hostel, mess and other fees. So when I say other fees, it could be examination fees, laptop fees, or any library fees and all those. So only your academic fees is approximately 18 lakhs. So add your hostel and mess and other charges, probably it will come out to be around 20 to 21 lakhs. 20 to 21 lakhs. Okay. Now having spent 20 to 21 lakhs, how much do you expect to get? Is the next question. How much do you expect to get? Look at these numbers. They are very, very encouraging. If you invest 20 lakhs in an IIFT seat, right, in your IIFT schooling, college, okay, how much is the average salary in 2020? 20.48 lakhs. In 2019, this is again 20 lakhs. 2018, this was 19 lakhs. And 2017, this is 18 lakhs. So if you look at the numbers, there is an upward trend. There is an upward trend. And probably when you graduate in 2023, this number should rise, right? Should rise to around 22 to 23 lakhs at least, right? That's the good part. So if you look at the placements, right? Don't look at the placement for just 1 year. Look at the placement over a period of time. This also shows that they are consistent. They are very consistent in their placements. Now, look at the highest salary. Look at the highest salary. For 3 out of the 4 years, the highest salary has been 1 crore plus. 1 crore plus. But remember, there is a catch. There is a catch. This is in Indian rupees. This is in Indian rupees. There are a lot of international placements also, like the United Nations, like the World Health Organizations. So a lot of international placements also happen where the figures are in USD. Where the figures are in USD. Now, if you convert these USD figures to, let's say, INR, this will obviously come out at times to be more than a crore. More than a crore. But for us, if I look in rupee terms, definitely the highest packages have been over a crore, and there are very lot of niche profiles. Example, the United Nations. Example, the World Health Organizations, which do not happen in other B schools. Which do not happen in other B schools. And hence, they have specifically mentioned the highest domestic salary, which comes out to be around 29 lakhs in 2018 and 2017, 2016 lakhs. For the remaining 2 years, the details are not available and have not been released by the institute. Now, having said this, you know what you get, you know how much you spend. Next, you should look at what kind of students actually get into IIFT. Remember, IIFT is Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. Foreign trade. So you should have some liking, right, about probably imports, exports, fiscal deficit. You should be able to understand such terms. Now, when I say foreign trade, it doesn't mean MBA is only about specialized subjects. You also get MBA. You will also learn marketing. You will also learn finance. But basically, MBA is an international business. International business which comprises such things. And that is why you get placed in companies like World Health Organizations and the United Nations. Now look at the kind of students who get into IIFT. 70 plus students. This is the last batch, right? The batch which is graduating this year. 70 plus students are from premier institutes of the country like the NITs, the IITs, Shriram College of Commerce, and so on. Okay, 70 plus. Now remember, 70 plus is not a big number. If you do not belong to one of these premier institutes, it's not a problem. Why? Hardly 70 students come from these premier institutes in this colleges, in IIFT campuses. Out of which 70 plus have specialized trainings. When I say specialized trainings, they are like chartered accountants or chartered financial analysts, or they hold a Six Sigma Green Belt certification. So these topics that I tell you, right, also give you some hint. If you have time after your CAT and you think of going about some certification, probably you can go for the Six Sigma Green Belt. You know what? This helps you to distinguish yourself from the crowd before you actually start your B school journey. What is the average work experience for students who get into IIFT? Less than 1.5 years. Less than 1.5 years. Less than 18 months. So they prefer probably freshers, a lot of freshers. Similarly, 50% of the batch, okay, have worked with Fortune 500 companies. So these are the top companies of the world. And then you see a lot of students, 29 students, okay, are either finalists or have won national level competitions which are conducted by top organizations like HCL, HUL conducts national level competitions. If you win the competition, you directly get a PPO. So 29, which is a very good number, okay, in the IIFT campus. If you look at the gender diversity, probably this is the reason why IIFT is introducing a gender diversity factor from this year. Last few years, the number of males is highly skewed, right? Highly skewed. Females are very less. Hence, from this year onwards, if you are a female, you get extra weightage. You get extra weightage of around 7 points, so as to encourage this number to go up. Okay. What about work experience? Nearly 2/3 of the students who got into IIFT have some sort of work experience, while the remaining 1/3 have absolutely no work experience, right? And if you look at the experience diversity, so these are the two factors, right, which helps you to know where you currently stand, And if you look at the work experience profile, you see 45% of the students have less than 1 year of work experience, 0 or less than 1. 1 to 2 years, 24% of the students. More than 2 years but less than 3 years is 20%, and greater than 3 years is 11%. Remember, I said at the start of the lecture, if you have greater than 3 years of work experience, you will not get any extra points in your work experience column. So IIFT prefers students who have around 3 years, max 3 to 4 years of work experience, not more than that generally. Does it mean I can't get if I have, let's say, 5 years of work experience? No. It only means you will not get brownie points for the work experience field. It's not like I have 5 years, so I should get 5 points. No, you'd rather get a 0 point. Why? They prefer students with max 3 years. So up till 3 years, you'll get 3 points extra. But more than 3 years, this will be again 0. This will be again 0. Okay? So I hope I answered your queries, and I hope the session was helpful. You got to know what were the changes that IIFT brought in for this particular academic session. Okay. Thank you so much. I hope you liked the session. In case you have liked the session, do please hit the like button. That encourages me to make more and more videos. So till the next time, till tomorrow morning 10:30 a.m. when my next session is due, it's goodbye from my end. Stay safe and keep preparing for your exams. All the best, and I see you tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. Stay safe. Goodbye.